Thanks for joining us today for our second annual Virtual Expo Destination Innovation. My name is Rakhi Oli, and I'm the Global Strategy Leader for LNG and gas segment here at Flowserve. My role here is to work cohesively with our internal stakeholders from our valves, pumps, and seals division to align Flowserve's product and portfolio with our diversification, decarbonization, and digitization strategy to meet the wider objectives of carbon neutrality. My team has a particular focus on progressing LNG as an enabler within the energy transition journey. Progressing the low carbon lane of LNG ensures growth not just for Flowserve, but for our customers and end users who will be traversing with us as the energy landscape evolves in the coming years. So let's start by understanding what LNG is. LNG is natural gas that has been refrigerated to minus 260 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 162 degrees C. It is clear, colorless, non-toxic liquid reduced to 1/600th of its original volume, making it easy to transport long distances and store. Is it green? Yes. Compared to traditional heavy fuel oils, LNG provides a 25% reduction in CO2 and around 90% reduction in NO2 and SO2. Compared to coal, LNG provides an 80% reduction in CO2 and 100% reduction in SO2 and NO2, making it a sustainable solution to achieve the climate change goals and support the energy transition. SO2, NO2, also commonly referred as SOx and NOx, and CO2 are the major greenhouse gas leading to global warming. Hence, expanding within the low-carbon LNG value chain closely aligns Flowserve with its core organizational objectives of decarbonization. Is LNG economical? Yes, and that's because of the high energy density of LNG comparable to diesel and petrol. It is even denser than CNG, compressed natural gas. The higher the energy density of the fuel, the greater the amount of energy it can store, hence making LNG economical to transport long distances. The LNG value chain, as you can see, is generally described as having four components: gas exploration and production, liquefaction, shipping, and regasification, which further comprises of storage and distribution. These components fit into the gas midstream segment. The primary method of transporting gas over long distances is to use a pipeline. There are several factors, however, that can impede the method, and they could be technical, political, or economical. When gas cannot be transported via pipeline, utilizing LNG becomes the obvious choice. In a nutshell, the LNG industry focuses on liquefying natural gas at cryogenic temperatures to reduce its volume so that it can be shipped in dedicated vessels and then regasified at the destination. Once back in the gaseous state, it is injected into the pipeline network of gas distribution and made available to the end users and customers. These four segments of LNG value chain involve comprehensive process unit operations. Hence, effective flow control becomes an integral part of the entire value chain and plays a vital role at all the stages of the journey, from the extraction of the gas to its liquefaction, transportation, regasification, and distribution. Optimized flow controls can support safety and emissions reduction within the LNG industry. It can help the customers with superior efficiency advantage and energy optimization, therefore improving the overall reliability of the unit operations and reducing the operating cost of the LNG liquefaction and regasification facilities. When it comes to energy transition, unquestionably, LNG has a significant role to play. One, because it's a known game, and second, because it is the only at-scale fuel choice available today to meet the humongous needs of the growing economies to decarbonize the hard-to-abate industrial areas. But to capture the growth potential of LNG in an increasingly competitive market, most companies and developers need to shift how they conduct business, particularly by being early adopters of emerging trends, supporting the energy transition pathways. The good news is LNG industry has been agile in embracing these emerging trends and technologies, which can further help them reduce the carbon footprint within their processes. I can talk for hours on these emerging trends, but in essence of time, I would like to briefly touch upon and highlight the top 5 trends. First, the industry's pivot towards small and mid-sized modular LNG trains compared to conventional mega LNG trains. This has been one of the emerging trends as it supports less risk to the investors and competitive price per ton of LNG produced in an optimum timeline, and of course less regulatory hurdles to cross compared to the mega train formats. Second is emissions reduction by digitization. Data analytics, network devices, sensors, and other digital technologies are changing how LNG is produced and consumed across the economy. Numerous advantages can be gained by embracing digitization of critical valves, pumps, and cryogenic equipment, but main among them are reductions in emissions and carbon footprint, improvement to cost, safety, and efficiency. Third is the uplift in the floating regasification units compared to fixed regasification units. Building an onshore or fixed regasification terminal is a large, long-term investment which requires certainty of continuous supply of LNG. Floating regasification units, on the other hand, can be time chartered, hence moving capital expenses to operational expenses. Due to its relatively reasonable price and shorter execution timelines, and of course the operational flexibility to move around and cater different coastlines, from final investment decision to utilization, floating regasification and storage units are becoming increasingly popular. Efficiency optimization efforts of brownfield LNG facilities, ensuring efficient energy management and production of carbon neutral LNG is another emerging trend. LNG plants, which are high users of power, will need to consume less energy to produce less emissions. And lastly, life cycle asset management. Effective service support is rightly considered as an essential part of the production facilities. Quality service offerings and asset maintenance increase plants' efficiency and productivity, reduce ultimate maintenance cost, and minimize levels of risk and ensure a safer environment to work. Life cycle asset management, along with digitization, is now becoming one of the top priorities of the LNG customers and developers and is part of early engineering feed scope discussions while the LNG and regasification facilities are designed. Hence, adopting all these emerging trends will further support LNG as a strong enabler in the energy transition ecosystem. Now, I would like to pivot to address more specific industry trends when it comes to flow control devices within the LNG applications. Understanding these trends will be very significant to meet the customer objectives. LNG applications can be very challenging, with cryogenic and extreme temperatures combining to create a nightmare for typical flow control devices. The LNG life cycle deals primarily with methane, which is potentially a major source of greenhouse gas emissions. Since methane is 25 times more harmful than CO2 on a pound-to-pound basis, there is an increasing emphasis on minimizing methane emissions using technologies that minimize or eliminate fugitive emissions and leakages from the flow control devices. In such a scenario, the customer or LNG developer's objective mainly revolves around tight shut-off flow devices to ensure emissions compliance. Once the LNG facility is up and running, loss of production for a single day due to downtimes can cost millions of dollars. Hence, a superior reliability, accessibility, and maintainability of flow control devices to reduce the operational downtime and loss of production goes a long way. Wide operating ranges of flow control devices to accommodate the cryogenic and non-cryogenic conditions that the LNG life cycle sees, along with the phase changes in the various stages from gas to liquid and back to gas, also becomes an important objective for customers. Agility in production and manufacturing of these flow control devices and efficient aftermarket support are other important customer objectives to being able to accommodate the changing market demands and dynamics. To summarize, selecting the right flow control device that meets the performance and regulatory requirements while still maintaining a superior design is very critical to LNG lifecycle applications. At the same time, optimizing the total cost of ownership for customers and giving them the CapEx-OpEx advantage should always be a top priority of the OEM supporting the LNG project development. Now, given the complexity of the baseload LNG development, project lifecycle execution and support from the flow control OEMs, or for that matter, from any critical equipment suppliers becomes very significant and helps the customer to meet the stringent execution timelines and on-time completion of commissioning and startup phases. Cohesive engagement with the EPCC contractors from the early pre-FEED engineering phases helps to seal the precise design requirements and develop the key documents. The continued collaboration during the order execution phases helps to overcome any schedule risk and on-time equipment delivery with zero quality escapes. Being the customer or EPCC contractor's partner during the installation and commissioning phase ensures timely factory acceptance tests and superior training programs for client operations. Conclusively, as a flow control OEM, assisting customers streamline, simplify, and reduce the complexity of the flow part of the business is an important parameter contributing to the success of baseload LNG project development. Now, with all the above customer objectives at the focal point, Flowserve has been at the forefront to meet the emerging trends within the LNG value chain. Adopting the 3D strategy around diversify, decarbonize, and digitize has further helped Flowserve to cater to these emerging trends. We are diversifying within the small, mid-size modular LNG and floating regasification segment by evolving the technology and design of our products to make them fit for purpose. Emissions reduction and life cycle asset management of LNG facilities, which has become very significant with energy transition gaining momentum, is being addressed by our strong digitization and IoT offerings through Red Raven. We are at the forefront of efficiency optimization and decarbonization of brownfield oil and gas assets by leveraging sustainable practices and introducing programs like Energy Advantage, Decarbonize by Design, and implementing design for manufacture principles to reduce the total cost of ownership for our customers. Understanding of the emerging trends within LNG to produce carbon neutral LNG is, of course, an admirable goal, but it can be overwhelming at the same time. But I believe with our thoughtful initiatives and well laid out program focused on energy efficiency improvement and product innovations, we are well equipped to address the needs today. Beyond these initiatives, Flowserve's Global QRC, Quick Response Center network, has been equipped with capabilities to ensure operational excellence of customers at the facility as a top priority. In a nutshell, by offering the world's most comprehensive portfolio of fluid motions and control products, Flowserve is making relentless leaps in understanding the ever-changing market dynamics and trends and partnering with our customers to move with agility in the growing market space. Going forward, Flowserve will continue growing within the LNG value chain. With the global energy demands expected to increase by around 40% between today and 2040, and the commitments to transition to a low carbon energy future, of course, natural gas becomes very fundamental. It is the only optimum solution that is available at scale today to meet the needs of the transition of the growing economies, more precisely the Asia Pacific region, which will be transitioning from the coal-based economy to the gas-based economy. These economies will embrace a phased approach towards deploying the emerging technologies. And in such a scenario, LNG will be a significant bridge fuel for them. The biggest driver for the uplift in the LNG economy will also come from the increasing use of LNG as a fuel in the transportation sector, inclusive of both onshore road as well as offshore marine transportation. The European and Asian economies are already taking a lead in shifting their gears to LNG as a transportation fuel. In 2021, China itself consumed 14 plus million tons of LNG just in the transportation sector. The global LNG capacity peaked in 2021 at 396 MTPA, with Europe and Asia driving the market forward. And by 2030, it is estimated to go up by 490 MTPA. And by 2040, it is expected to double to be more than 700 MTPA. I would like to conclude my talk with this final slide that reflects our strength within the LNG value chain. We are 50 years strong, servicing the sector with our valves, pumps, and seals portfolio, with more than 230 years of flow control experience. We have provided valves inclusive of a general service and severe service, the pumps, seals, to 55 plus facilities around the world, from Freeport LNG, Cameron LNG, Sabine Pass within the North America, to Mundra regasification terminal in India, Sakhalin in Russia, Angola LNG, and Prelude in Australia. We have global footprint on major LNG and regasification projects. And with the strong presence within the LNG value chain, we understand the pain points of our customer, and at the same time, pay due attention to the lessons learned from our existing install base. We thrive in continually evolving our products, portfolio, and services to meet the customer's objective and the emerging market trends within the LNG, to be their most cohesive and collaborative partner during the project development phase, aftermarket services, as well as lifecycle asset management. I would like to reiterate that on the face of energy transition, LNG has so far been a strong enabler, and it will continue to be a significant transitional fuel as we move forward on the path of carbon neutrality to meet the larger goals of Paris Agreement and COP26. But there is much work to be done, and the industry collaboration will be the top priority to unlock the potential of the LNG as a sustainable, cost-effective, and resilient energy source for a cleaner energy mix within the US as well as across the globe. With a robust customer-centric business model and equipped with the 3Ds, Flowserve will continue to lead the way within the LNG value chain and other emerging technology space. On that note, I would like to wrap up my talk for today and convey my big thank you to all the participants and audience for their time addressing these interesting topics. Thank you all for your collaboration, and I look forward to the Q&A session.